Well, Clemson gets their get-right game, a big win for the Tigers over Florida State Saturday, 24-10, where Clemson, as Dabo Swinney said, went up 18 points. Florida State came back, made it 18-7. Clemson scored 3 in the third quarter, held Florida State in the third to 0, and then both teams added on 3 more in the fourth quarter. But nonetheless, a big win, the fourth win of the season for the Clemson Tigers. Welcome into Wire to Wire. I'm Cole Bryson. Diesel is under the weather today. He was actually under the weather on Friday, but I will give him a big shout out. He worked Friday, even though he was sick, but he was under the weather today and just could not make it in. So if you don't mind, send your thoughts and prayers to Diesel to get a little better. I talked to him about an hour ago, and he doesn't sound good. He does not sound good. So give him some, send him some prayers, thoughts, and some Dayquil, and maybe he'll get back to full strength. But I'm riding solo with you on this Overreaction Monday. So good to be with you. And boy, do we have a loaded show today or what, because I'm riding solo. Would love to hear from you at 844-326-3663. The Hub City Spartan Burgers text line's there for you. The phone lines are open as well. We got a lot to get into. Clemson, college football from the weekend, top 25, daily wires, little high school football if we have time. I've got upset pick standings hot off the press from the one and only Dan B., who I already see in the stream, along with 32 other Tolos where you can watch the show. Also, Grayson Mann, TigerNet.com, his weekly spot on these airwaves at 4:22. At 4:45, I'll tell you why we'll be off tomorrow. And also want to give a big shout out to a special group of people at 4:45. Overreaction Monday coming up at 5 o'clock. We'll talk to Nate Garner at 5:22 on the show. And then at 5:45, the final segment of the show today, only a 3-hour show today because we have the Furman basketball pregame show at 6 o'clock, and Dan Scott, the play-by-play voice of the Paladins, will join us at 5:45 to talk a little Furman basketball, a tough weekend for Furman football over the weekend, but nonetheless, it's a slam-packed, jam-packed day, if you will. Oh, and we've also got to get to a firing in the NFL. Brian Daboll fired as the Giants head coach. If you didn't see that, that news broke just a little while ago. And Brian Daboll was 21-41-1 in 4 seasons, a 2-8 start for the third straight season, and that was enough to get Brian Daboll canned. Again, welcome in if you just tuned in on this Overreaction Monday. So good to be with you. And Clemson fans want to hear from you. 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. A big win for the Tigers over the weekend. You heard that audio from Dabo Swinney just a few minutes ago talking about the big win, answering some questions. We'll get back to some of that audio in a few minutes, but nonetheless, it's a good get-right game for the Tigers. We know what the season has been for Clemson in 2025, but man, you needed that one Saturday just to keep the morale together, keep the morale up, and that's exactly what happened. You know, I said on Friday, Diesel and I were talking about it. When you look at this season altogether as a whole in 2025, you don't want the end of the season to sour just like the first part of the season soured. You want to be able to have some substance to take away from the latter part of the season, finishing strong, finishing strong, finishing strong. How many times did we hear that from Dabo Swinney? And I'll be honest with you, I multiple times thought to myself, well, we keep hearing Dabo talking about finishing strong, and man, he said that a million times. When's that actually going to happen? When is that actually going to happen? It didn't happen the past couple of weeks. Didn't happen against SMU. Certainly didn't happen against Duke. That collapse, right? Offensively, you played well. But, man, I really thought Clemson played well on Saturday. And I know I joked about it on Twitter, and I was kidding, but it's just funny that Brent Venables was on the sideline being a dad Saturday, and all of a sudden Clemson's defense showed up. I joked about it on Twitter. I think I quoted a picture of Brent Venables down there in his orange and said, man, did somebody give Brent Venables the headset? Is somebody letting this guy call plays? Is somebody letting this guy call the defense? It certainly felt that way, didn't it? It felt like that old Clemson defense. And I talked about it on Friday, that the defenses of Brent Venables that used to play with that edge and play with that passion and play with that swagger, you Tolos out there heard us talk about it on Friday. I wanted to see that passionate defense back, and man, you saw that defense. You saw it. And I know it's a bad Florida State team. They're 4-5 on the season, 1-5 in the ACC. They fooled us a little bit out of the gate, right? Because of the win over Alabama. But since then, they've been horrific. So you can take it for what it's worth. A lot of people out there will say, Cole, don't give them too much praise. It was a win over a bad Florida State team. A lot of people will say, hey, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. A win's a win. This year, we'll take a win any way we can get it. I do find myself somewhere in the middle. Yes, it's been a horrible season. Yes, Florida State's not good. But at the same time, two things can be true. Clemson looked good Saturday. Now, did they look perfect on Saturday? Certainly not. Certainly plenty of areas for Clemson to improve, especially down the stretch. As I watched that game, I thought to myself down the stretch, man, Clemson, a few too many 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and outs that ended in a punt. And I'm saying that tongue in cheek when I say 2 and out. It felt like 2 and out. A lot of short drives is my point there toward the end of the game. So a big win. Yes, you can be better. Yes, Clemson has to be way better going forward. But nonetheless, when Clemson was down, when everybody thought Clemson was out, I was pretty impressed. And Tolos, I'd love to hear from you if you think I'm overreacting a little bit and how impressed I was with the Clemson's performance on Saturday. Maybe you think I am, and that's fine. But I'll tell you this. From what I saw on television, I wasn't there. I watched the TV broadcast. I was a bit surprised at the environment Saturday. If you were at the game and were there, I'd love to hear from you. Again, at 844-FAN-PHONE, I will say, I was a little bit surprised on just how incredible the environment was. And we all know what kind of season Clemson's had. And there's a lot of people that sold tickets last week. I saw a lot of ticket sales online, on Facebook, you name it. I think last week I saw more Clemson fans selling tickets than I had in a very long time. However, I go back to what Graham Neff tweeted out over the weekend, and I thought this was a very telling tweet as well. Graham Neff, the athletic director of Clemson, said, just a big shout out to the Clemson family. Clemson keeps showing up. It's the people. It's the tradition. It's the unwavering belief in who we are, our values, and what we can become. Always proud to be a Clemson Tiger, but yesterday, that was special. Thank you, Clemson family. Again, that was tweeted out by Graham Neff, along with a couple of pictures, of Death Valley, of Memorial Stadium. And you know what, man? I know it's a win over Florida State. I know Florida State's not that good of a team, but let me tell you, you needed that one. You needed that game on Saturday. And again, the defense looked really good. And Dabo Swinney said it. The offense set the tone. Cade Klubnik, like I said on Friday, I want to see this team play with a little heart, play with a little fire, play with a little passion, right? And the fact of the matter is Cade Klubnik's not fully healthy, but he's going out there and he's fighting. He's competing, just like Deshaun Watson did when he was the quarterback of the Clemson Tigers, just like you saw him do with a pretty much a torn ACL against South Carolina. He showed up. He fought. He played. He had that desire, that passion, and that's what I saw from Clemson on Saturday that did give me a little bit of hope. And again, you can tell me until the cows come home, and I get it. Florida State is not good, but neither is Clemson this year. And Clemson has shown us, they've given us a lot of sample size, many, many opportunities to where we look at them and say, they were the better team on paper, we thought, but they laid an egg. They didn't perform. They didn't live up to those expectations. But I think they did on Saturday. They ran the ball well at times. I thought they ran the ball well, especially in the first 2.5 quarters. Adam Randall, 48 yards. Gideon Davidson, 10 for 39. The only touchdown was from Cade Klubnik on the touchdown rush right there at the goal line. But my whole thing is, when you watched Clemson Saturday toward the very end of the game, I thought they kind of went away from the run game a little too early. You go back and look at those those drives in the fourth quarter there. Several punts. I thought they could have been better. I thought they could have finished better. But I will say, nonetheless, I like what I saw, especially from Antonio Williams. 6 receptions, 62 yards and a touchdown, averaging 10.3 a reception. Man, I'll tell you this. Are Clemson fans going to miss that guy or what? I mean, are Clemson fans going to miss that guy when he graduates or leaves for the NFL? Oh, my gosh. Antonio Williams, I'm telling you, people just don't understand how much Clemson is going to miss that talent. He is going to be a very good NFL receiver in my mind. Now, on the flip side, Deuce Robinson, we talked about him on Friday with a play-by-play voice of Florida State, 9 receptions, 124 yards, big play threat, average 13.8 per reception. Randy Pittman Jr., he had 2 big receptions, only 2 receptions on the day, but 47 yards, right? His longest was a 35-yarder. McCoy, 4 for 46 and a touchdown. But the real story for Florida State is the missed opportunities, the what-ifs, the drops, right? And that was for me the biggest blemish that Florida State had on Saturday. Now, Tommy Castellanos put the ball on the turf, right, on the grass. We know what happened there, and he could have been better. He was, he finished today 23 of 43, 250, a touchdown and interception. Not a great day, a QBR of 38.0. So, again, quarterback play for Florida State wasn't better than average. It wasn't even – I'd say it was probably average quarterback play to below average. But nonetheless, those drops that Florida State had were critical. And I mean, oh, my word, you're talking about the potential of game-changing drops. I just never seen anything like it. And, by the way, Florida State didn't have a run game. 11 rushes, for Tommy Castellanos, 31 yards. Singleton Jr., 6 for 28. They could not run the ball. They couldn't run the ball. And again, credit to Clemson's defense. You go out and get that 18-0 lead. That's a big way to start that game. And I was overall impressed by how Clemson played. Jeff R. says, cool to meet you this weekend. Cole, good to meet you as well, Jeff. Appreciate you stopping by on Friday night. It was good to see you, and hope to see you again soon. We were hanging out after some high school football on Friday over in Simpsonville. We'll talk a little high school football later in the show, but let's get back to Dabo Swinney and what he said postgame.
Avion had 2 sacks with the corner blitzes. Sammy had a sack. Helt had a sack. Jeremiah, Kobe had a sack. A couple of those you get credited sack because he ran out of bounds or something. But just 6 sacks. That was it was big for us to be able to get that done. And then 6 of 18 on 3rd and 4th down was a good job.
Looked like there were a couple plays Cade could have had big plays with his legs if he was 100%, but like the throw to Bentoncourt in the end zone there. But yeah, we'd like to have seen him run that. But yeah, it's a miracle that he was even out there running at all. But yeah, if he and I think he'll get better. I think it's one of those things getting better each day. So I'd say he might be a little sore tomorrow, but probably by Monday he'll be even better.
Coach, last 6 games, offense is averaging over 450 yards a game. Cade, 13 total touchdowns and just 2 turnovers in his last 5 games. I feel like the offense is hitting their stride at the right time of the season.
Yeah, that's kind of, again, what we envisioned coming into this thing and just miscued on some stuff early on. But yeah, they're really playing well. I mean, honestly, it played pretty good at Georgia Tech. We just had the 2 turnovers that were critical. Played pretty good, especially in the second half against Syracuse. Did some great stuff against SMU, even though Cade didn't play. So, I mean, we've been fairly productive, but I thought North Carolina, Boston College, we kind of hit a little rhythm. And, obviously the Duke game, we did a lot of good stuff in that game from an offensive standpoint. But
here's what. So that was Dabo Swinney post game. And sorry for the ad there, by the way. I'll say this about what Dabo said. He was asked a question there about the offense kind of hitting their stride at the right time. The offense is playing well. There's no doubt about that. And the offense is, I believe, getting better. As you saw the last couple of weeks, I thought they played well at times against SMU with Vecina back there, and then they get Cade back last week against Duke. Thought they played well last week. The defense gave up 109 points, it felt like, against Duke, and certainly that had a lot to do as to why they couldn't get the job done. But this week, it was more what? It was more complimentary. We've talked about many, many times this year, and I've said it. I think Clemson's biggest flaw, one of their biggest flaws in 2025, was the fact that they just cannot play complimentary football. They have not been able to play complimentary football. When the defense shows up, the offense doesn't. When the offense shows up, the defense doesn't. So I think that's been the biggest flaw this year. And look, hopefully they can continue to piece that together. But certainly complimentary football down the stretch is important. Yes, you do want to be playing your best football, especially offensively right now. But the bad part about it is, and again, not trying to be Debbie Downer here, but what are you playing for now? A bowl game, I guess, and that's still not going to set well with fans. So while you're happy and grateful that your offense is hitting its stride and playing well heading into the latter part of the season with only a few games to go, the reality of it is you're not playing for what you thought you would be playing for this time of year. So it still does make it disappointing. The Saturday's win helps. Sure, it helps. That's a big win. And anytime you can get a win over a conference opponent, that's a big get. And you don't have to go into next season with that stat looming around for another entire offseason about Clemson not defeating a Power 4 opponent at home in over a calendar year. You can finally get that horribly messy stat off the paper, right? And I tell you what, it's just it's one of those things where you look and you say, yes, they're playing well. Yes, it seems like they're getting better. But I think the biggest thing I would say, the biggest thing I would advise is don't allow this recency bias. Don't allow this recent success down the stretch. If you're a Clemson fan, don't allow that to allow you to forget about what happened in the first part of the season. Because the fact of the matter is, not trying to be Debbie Downer, the fact of the matter is there's still a lot of changes that need to happen on this staff. There's still a lot that needs to happen this offseason. So, yes, it's great to win. Yes, you want to win conference games, but that doesn't mean all of a sudden everything's fine and dandy. That doesn't mean, it's all good in the hood. No, there's still a lot of things, a lot of issues that need to be fixed, even if they were to win out. Even if they were to win out, and Clemson fans out there might not agree with me on that, but even if Clemson was to win out, you still aren't in a position where you can say, we won out, everything's fine, we won 4 or 5 in a row, we made a bowl game, yada, yada, yada. It's all good now. So there's nothing to be worried about, nothing to be concerned about. I think you're in a spot where, yes, you still want to win, but you also have to remember that, hey, we could be winning. We could have been winning like this all season, but for whatever reason, we weren't able to do so. So my point being, you still have to address those needs. On the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, Percy says, Cole, thank you for the upset pick recommendation last week. You said the Missouri State versus Liberty for 7.5 was intriguing. Percy, I guess you're welcome on that. It's a shame that I gave you the recommendation for the upset pick, but I didn't take that game myself. That's embarrassing. That's really, really embarrassing. I will say my upset pick was not close to hitting, and I mean wasn't close. So Unfortunately, I'm back to square one in the Upset Picks Challenge. I've lost 3 or 4, maybe even 5 weeks in a row now. I do have those standings. I'll get to those and post them online at the Fan Upstate coming up very, very soon. But let's continue the college football conversation. Take a look at the top 25 of the AP poll. What else happened this weekend? Tolos, did you get your YouTube TV issue resolved? I'll give you an update on what I had to do next. we've got Monday Night Football tonight. Eagles, Packers. I think it could be a really good game. Yesterday was a pretty good day in the National Football League, and it was even better because my Cowboys didn't lose. They didn't play, so yeah, got that going for me. Tolos, want to hear from you on this Overreaction Monday, 844-3263-663. JR gets in on the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line. JR says, big win for Clemson, but let's be honest, Florida State not very good. Thanks for the text, JR. And yes, there is some truth to that. There is some truth to that. And we'll continue to talk about Clemson. We've got to get to the AP poll, top 25. It's Overreaction Monday. Tolos, want to hear from you at 5 o'clock in terms of what your overreaction is from the sports weekend. 844-FAN-PHONE. That's FANFONE. What happened in college football? Tolos, did you get your YouTube TV situation figured out, by the way? I'm on the Disney Plus app, just to give you an update. I do have Disney. Is it Disney Plus? Is that right? Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but I have the Disney app, which does allow me to watch some of the games. It's pretty affordable. However, I was told yesterday that Sling TV might be the best option. So I don't know if you Tolos know this or not. I was talking about this with the Tolo during the commercial break on the text line, but apparently with Sling TV, and let me know if I have this information wrong, you can do a college football day pass, which runs for 24 hours on Saturday. It gets you all of the channels, and I don't think it's called like the college football day pass. I think it's just like an ESPN day pass, but the reality, what I'm trying to get at is you can, for $5 or $6 a day, you can have the ESPN channels at your disposal on Sling TV. So I'm thinking about going that option. I don't know. I hadn't tried it. I didn't use it this past weekend. A buddy of mine did, and he said that it worked pretty well for him. Tolos, let me know if you've tried that. Sling TV free, what's it called? Day pass. I don't know if it's an ESPN day pass or just a Sling TV day pass. I think that's a pretty good option, though, because $5 to watch your ESPN content on a Saturday, I mean, my gosh, you can't beat that. And the problem is I want to keep YouTube TV because I have Sunday Ticket. And if I get rid of YouTube TV, then I lose Sunday Ticket. I lose Red Zone. I love Red Zone. I watched it like all day yesterday. So officially, I still have YouTube TV. I've not axed it yet. I'm close. I'm closer today than I have been, but I just can't. When I turn the TV on Saturday morning and all I see is that Big 10, Big 12, oh my gosh, I'd rather just, kick a wall at that point. I can't stand it. Big noon kickoff. Are you kidding me? I mean, that is the worst Saturday show. And there's nobody out there that loves college football more than I do. And to wake up on Saturday and be forced to watch Big Noon Kickoff, it is the worst show on television. I think I'd rather watch Oprah Winfrey at this point. It is so bad. Big Noon Kickoff, I don't know what the ratings are. I would assume the ratings are higher now because YouTube TV and ESPN have cut off. I mean, that's the only reason I can think the ratings might be higher. But goodness gracious, that Big Noon Kickoff, it feels like they should be paying you to watch that, right? So I'm going to, Saturday, I'm going to try the day pass on Sling TV to see how that works out, just so I can watch College Game Day, because 2 weeks in a row now, I've gone without College Game Day. I've gone without my regular ESPN games. It sucked. I don't want to have to go to the Disney Plus app and scroll through that way to try to find the ESPN games. But I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. I guess that's what I'm going to, figure out how it's now managing all of these platforms and apps. Instead of on YouTube TV, it all be in there. You could have got the ESPN, you could have got the Fox, yada, yada, yada. Now you have to switch back and forth, and I hate that. Dan B says, crazy how Fox NFL pregame is the best and their NCAA version is garbage. And, I don't mind the Fox NFL pregame. I like both. I do think I would agree with you, Dan B. I like Fox NFL pregame a little bit more than I like the ESPN countdown. The only thing is that you do get on ESPN, even though I love watching Jimmy Johnson and those guys on Fox, I do love Rex Ryan on ESPN on Sundays leading up to NFL kickoff. So I'm with you. Fox NFL pregame is really good. the NCAA, the college, the big noon kickoff, it's bad. And you know what's weird? I thought it would be better because of Portnoy, because I like Dave Portnoy, but it's not. It is stale. It is just, I'm telling you what, it's making my throat hurt right now just talking about it. As I grab a drink, I'm telling you, it is so, and I guess the problem is we're comparing it to College Game Day. We're comparing it to Pat McAfee and Nick Saban and Kirk Herbstreit, something we all grew up with. I don't know how you Tolos do it. And there are people out there who will wake up and intentionally watch Big Noon Kickoff. Oh my gosh. I don't see how you do it on purpose without, losing a bet. I mean, it is just not the same. So I think that's where I'm at. I've had a couple of Tolos tell me that, the Hulu TV is the way to go. And then I had somebody tell me yesterday that Hulu TV is just not it. I don't know if ESPN and YouTube TV will ever work it out. I tweeted out yesterday joking when, the reports came out that the government was going to open back up. I said, now can we get YouTube TV and ESPN to the table and figure this crap out? Because it's getting ridiculous. And I would love to know, I don't know if the numbers are out there. It feels like something Dan B would know. I would love to know how many subscribers YouTube TV has lost in this whole debacle, because it's got to be a lot. Buckeye Mike says, I haven't missed ESECPN at all. Well, Buckeye Mike, there's something wrong with you, right? I mean, you are an Ohio State guy. And I'm kidding, by the way. I love you. But you're an Ohio State guy. Of course, you're going to prefer Big Noon Kickoff. And the Ohio State fans, I guess they can stomach it because, it's people they know and they're used to. It's just not the same. Buckeye Mike also says, nope, I'm enjoying some good Big Ten football and the weather. I love YouTube TV. I'm never getting rid of it. And Mike, I feel the same way. I absolutely love YouTube TV. Love it. And I now all of a sudden have found myself in a pickle because, like I said, the Sunday, the Sunday ticket and NFL Red Zone, it's great. I love how you can record on YouTube TV. I love a lot of things about it. But now with this whole ESPN thing, man, it's really bad. April Mosley on YouTube says, oh, it's absolutely horrible. Can't stand Portnoy. I like him, April. I like him, but he on that show, I don't know what it is. He just doesn't seem to fit. I guess we all thought that he would elevate the ratings, and I guess essentially that's why they brought him on. But I don't know. I don't think people are tuning in to see Dave Portnoy. Texter from the 803 texter says, not being able to see Ryan Clark has been awesome. That's a good text. I know a lot of people, I think you either love or hate Ryan Clark. And it's not so much the daytime, the weekday shows I miss. I cannot stand not being able to watch Game Day. It's just a staple. I grew up on it. I love having Game Day on. In the last 2 weeks, I intentionally stayed home and didn't go to a game so I could just watch football. And it's been the worst. It's been the worst. I don't know how I'm going to do it. We'll see what happens. Maybe I go Sling TV. Buckeye Mike says, Big Noon Kickoff is not that good. I don't like it either. Can't stomach Portnoy. Well, I know why you can't stomach Portnoy. I know why. Because he's a Michigan guy and you're an Ohio State guy. I get that. RJ on the text line says, I'm not really a big fan of the Fox NFL pregame. It's time for Terry Bradshaw to go, with all due respect to what he accomplished in his career. I think RJ Terry's the only one on there I don't like. I think I'm with you on that. The rest of the guys on Fox NFL pregame, I'm okay with. I like them. But you're right. Terry Bradshaw, I think it's time for him to go ahead and hang it up. It does seem as if old Terry is ran his course. And we all loved him. To your point, we all respect, what he did and his career, right, in the NFL. But I don't know. I think it might be time for him to move on. Tolos, let me know what your favorite game of the weekend was that you got to watch, however you watched it. I'll tell you this. I tweeted out on Saturday, I, at times this college football season, have thought to myself, college football seems a little dull this year. And I don't know if I'm alone in that thinking, but maybe it's because our in-state teams absolutely suck. Maybe that's the reason. But I found myself many times this year thinking, man, college football this year just hadn't felt like it normally feels. However, with that being said, Saturday I did watch Indiana Penn State. And maybe for the first time this season, I thought to myself, oh boy, this is what I watch. This is what I want to see happen. This is what makes college football so great. Indiana over Penn State Saturday, 27-24. Penn State 3-6 now, 0-6 in the Big Ten. They had that game in the bag. Penn State had it. And maybe it's not just a James Franklin thing after all, right? Penn State had that game in the bag, and man, Indiana storms back. What a catch, by the way. The toe tap in the end zone by Omar Cooper Jr. I mean, was that the greatest college football play of the entire season? It might have been. It might have been the greatest one of the entire season. Maybe the best catch I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was that good. Omar Cooper Jr.'s toe tap. Indiana survives. And boy, what a loss that would have been. 27-24. Indiana finds a way to pull it out. And you know, that's what good teams do, right? You say that, oh, well, Indiana, they struggled against a bad Penn State team. But the reality of it is, man, when you're a good team, every good team has its weeks, has its days where they just don't have it. They're not on their game. And that was the case for Indiana on Saturday. They weren't on their game, but somehow, some way found the way to pull through. And they were phenomenal in the closing moments when they had to be phenomenal. It was almost that clutch factor, that it factor, that they were able to somehow win that football game. So hats off to Kurt Cignetti and Indiana. Dan B says, the internet thinks up to 24% has or may leave YouTube TV out of approximately 10 million. Well, Dan B, if that's true, 24% of 10 million is a lot of people. And if 24% have already left, that's a lot of people that have unsubscribed from YouTube TV. And you know what? I could see that being true. By the way, that's 2.4 million subscribers. 2.4 million subscribers. I mean, that's a lot of money. And that's a lot of, you multiply 2.4 million times whatever YouTube TV charges now. Is it $80? Is that right? $80 for a YouTube TV subscription. If you're telling me 24% have subscribed or have unsubscribed, that is that's a lot of money YouTube TV's lost. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's on ESPN. It's not really on YouTube TV, and I get it, but still, you would think an agreement would have been made by now. JB says all this streaming crap is starting to be not as it was originally advertised, was supposed to be streamlined everything and be cheaper, but now it seems out of control. JB, it definitely has made it more challenging. I'll say that. It definitely has made it more challenging. Michael T. from Gaffney says Sling TV has a day pass for $5 that will get you through Saturdays. Well, Michael T., number one, appreciate you listening. Number two, I'm assuming you just tuned in because about 5 minutes ago, I just brought that up with the Sling TV day pass. Another friend of mine told me about that, Michael. So if you are seconding Sling TV day pass for $5 that will get me all of those channels on Saturday, I am all in on that. I mean, I think that's a great deal. Yes, I would like for it to be on YouTube TV. And yes, I would like to have the day, ESPN channels for days other than just Saturday, but that's not a bad deal, Michael from Gaffney. Appreciate you listening to the show. Buckeye Mike says Oregon, Iowa. He also says that was a great one too, talking about Indiana and Penn State. I didn't get to see much of Oregon, Iowa. I did illegally, I guess, watch Alabama versus LSU through a pirated streaming website that a buddy of mine sent me. I don't know if I should admit to that, but I did. I was able to watch it on my computer and then, airplay it to the TV. So Alabama LSU was intriguing. The 20-9 final score, I thought, wasn't truly indicative of how the game was. Like LSU just they couldn't capitalize. And Alabama, I mean, you're up 17-3 at the half, and to think Alabama at halftime is only going to score 3 more points in the entirety of the football game, right? Who would have thought that? I thought Alabama left a lot on the table Saturday. That was a decent game. I thought it was. Georgia-Mississippi State was interesting. My upset pick wasn't even close to hitting BYU over Texas Tech. For all those out there that took BYU over Texas Tech as I did, I guess I'll apologize. That was horrendous. And then Wake Forest How about the Demon Deacons, 6-3 now, 3-3 in conference play? What do they do Saturday? 16-9 win over Virginia, who was the number 14 team in the country, I believe. It was now a 2-loss team, 1 loss in the ACC. Virginia's interesting, only scoring 9 points at home against Wake Forest. Not what you expected. So we're going to get to the ACC a little bit later in the show because the ACC right now is just a dumpster fire in terms of who's leading the division, what good teams there are. I think the ACC is kind of a mess right now. We'll get into that. But we've got to get to our top headlines. It's our Daily Wires next. Diesel a little under the weather. He'll be back not tomorrow because tomorrow is Veterans Day, but he'll be back on Wednesday, hopefully. So hopefully you feel better, Big D. Let's see. I like this comment. Kane says bootleg football is the best football. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, Kane, it has to be, right? I mean, I don't like having to go that route, but you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do sometimes. And man, if YouTube, TV, and ESPN would just get it together, we wouldn't have to worry about it. But it is what it is. It's our Daily Wires, the top headlines in sports. The Green Bay Packers star pass rusher Micah Parsons will line up tonight against the Philadelphia Eagles. If you haven't heard about this aspect of the trade, this is really interesting. So the Dallas Cowboys went out of their way over the summer to ensure Parsons would not play for their division rival Eagles, at least not anytime soon. Unbeknownst to everyone except the few who crafted the August blockbuster trade that sent Parsons from Dallas to Green Bay was a poison pill condition that, according to sources involved with the deal, prevents the two-time All-Pro from playing for Philadelphia in the immediate future. So the previous unreported condition states that if the Packers decide to trade Parsons to a team in the NFC East, the Eagles tried to trade for him in the summer before being rebuffed, then Green Bay would owe Dallas its 2028 first-round draft pick, sources told ESPN. That is wild. I don't know if I've ever heard of that. A poison pill, I guess. Locally, over the weekend, Clemson defeated Florida State 24-10. Furman lost to Chattanooga 45-28. Wofford defeated VMI 52-10. And Catawba defeated Anderson 44-20. North Greenville defeated Shorter 35-33. Congrats to Nate Garner and those guys. North Greenville, under first-year head coach Nate Garner, will host the conference championship game this Saturday in Tigerville. We'll talk to Nate Garner in the 5 o'clock hour about the big weekend ahead in Tigerville. In college hoops over the weekend, Clemson defeated Gardner-Webb 97-59. South Carolina got a win in overtime. A close one yesterday, but a win is a win. Furman lost to Troy 64-61 on Friday. USC Upstate defeated Southern Virginia 105-46. And Kevin Giltner got his first win as the head coach of the Wofford Terriers on Saturday, as Wofford defeated Milwaukee 86-76. Let's see. Former LSU football coach Brian Kelly rejected 2 financial settlement offers from the university. His attorneys have given LSU's officials a Monday deadline to confirm in writing that they'll pay him the $54 million buyout that he's owed under the terms of his contract. Kelly, who was fired on October 26th, was in the 4th season of a 10-year, $95 million contract. I mean, what are we doing here? How idiotic do you have to be to give that guy a 10-year, $95 million contract? Goodness gracious. This is interesting. Detroit Lions coach Dan Campbell took over play calling duties from first-year OC John Morton this past week, and it worked. It ignited a dominant 44-22 win over the Commanders on Sunday. Campbell said he met with Morton for an honest conversation to discuss some changes last Monday, a day after that tough home loss to the Minnesota Vikings. Entering Sunday's game, Detroit ranked among the league leaders in total points per game, but was still struggling to find an offensive identity outside of those home run plays. Cleveland Guardians pitcher Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz were charged with fraud, conspiracy, and bribery stemming from an alleged scheme to rig individuals' pitches that led to gamblers winning hundreds and thousands of dollars, according to an indictment unsealed by federal prosecutors on Sunday. The Burns Rebels are back in action this Friday night after a bye week last Friday night. Second round of the South Carolina High School League playoffs are here. Burns will host Rock Hill on Friday. The winner will play the winner of Dutch Fork versus Boiling Springs. And a very important note, the Burns game, Tolos, that typically airs on the Fan Upstate will air this Friday night only on our sister station, News Talk 98.9 WORD. Biggest news of the day, last one for you. The New York Giants fired coach Brian Daboll on Monday after the team blew another double-digit lead in Chicago on Sunday. That was pretty bad. It was the second time this season the Giants lost after leading by at least 10 points. with under 4 minutes remaining. They became just the second team since the NFL merger to do that, joining the 2024 Seattle Seahawks. All right, Tolos, I've got the upset pick standings in hot off the press. I'll get them online at thefanupstate.com on Facebook and Twitter here shortly. We'll also get into a little high school football, what happened in round 1 this past Friday. If you want to talk a little high school football, you can get in at 844-326-3663. We've got Grayson Mann coming up in about 25 minutes and upset pick standings next. Where are you in the upset picks challenge standings? Oh boy, I continue to go the opposite direction. I continue to drop. Not good news, but it is what it is. I've got to do better. I've just not, I don't know. I guess I've been snake bit. Texter says the Packers did the same poison pill when they traded Brett Favre so he couldn't play for Minnesota. That's interesting, Texter, and appreciate that because now that you say that, I do remember there being some sort of clause in there. So the poison pills have happened before. You just don't hear about them that often, right? Welcome into Wire to Wire. I'm Cole Bryson. Diesel is under the weather today. He will be back hopefully very, very soon. Not feeling the best, so resting up and getting to feeling better is the D. But we've got upset pick standings. We've got high school football playoffs round 1 to get to. And where are you, Tolos, in these upset picks challenge standings? We'll have GraysonMan, TigerNet.com joining us in, 20 minutes or so right here on the show. All right, if you go to thefanupstate.com on Facebook or Twitter, you can see those standings. I just posted them during the commercial break, and I will pull them up. And let's see who's at the top of this thing, who's leading the way when it comes to the Upset Picks Challenge. Now, congratulations to Dave Mosley, who still leads the way with 79.5 points. I will say, before we get to the rest of the leaderboard, a couple of notes from Dan B. There was one newbie to the game this week, 7 new on the board, which is good. Madcraft finally, how about that, Madcraft, finally getting on the board. 3 huge picks with Cal, one up to the top 3, and the other jumped 49 spots. The third was Bubba Brooks, now on the board. Let's see, I believe Bubba Brooks, if you are listening, Dan B is going to update the graphic. I believe that was the only thing we forgot to get on there, but a lot of new Tolos on the board. Dave Mosley leading the Upset Picks Challenge, 79.5 points. USC Justin at second with 66 points. Canes Transplant, 51 points. He's in third with Gamecock Tim. FU Ashley, that is Diesel's wife. She has 46 points and is sitting in 5th place. The rest of the top 15, Puppy Monkey Baby, Leprechaun Lyman, Dewey. Dewey has 39 points. I don't know how. Nashty, 38.5 points. RJ sitting in 10th place with 38 points. Percy also tied for 10th with 38 points. Coach AJ at 12. Kevin Buggs, Frank Wagner, Keith and TR, Jacob in Spartanburg, Trey in Kentucky, Bo from Greer, Clemson 83, Hoosier Daddy, and very upsetting, that rounds out the top 20. When it comes to oh, look, by the way, shout out Dan B. Dan B has moved all the way up to 27th spot with 27.5 points. Kane also right there, 27 spots as well. Congrats on that, Kane. But when it comes to me and Diesel, we are really, really struggling. I've fallen all the way back to 78th place now with 12 points. So I've got to figure out what to do just to end. I'm going to be like Dabo and just try to finish strong, I guess. That's all I'm going to do. Diesel has fallen to 119th, in danger of falling off the board. Diesel has 1.5 point. Just 1.5 points. So we'll see if Diesel can get it back together. But Tolos, the Upset Picks standings are online at thefanupstate.com. If you want to see where you are, let us know. I know some of you Tolos don't have Facebook and Twitter. If you don't, call in or text in, and I'll find your name on the list. Let you know where you stand in the standings. Welcome into Wire to Wire, though, Tolos. If you just tuned in, Cole Bryson with you. Diesel again under the weather. He'll be back hopefully very soon. We've got a loaded show to get to. GraysonMan coming up in the next segment. Also, Overreaction Monday at 5 o'clock right here on the Fan Upstate. Nate Garner, the head football coach of the North Greenville Trailblazers, joining the show at 5:22. A short show today, only 3 hours compared to normal, which is 4 hours due to the Furman pregame show at 6 o'clock tonight. Dan Scott will join me at 5:45 to look at to take a quick look at Furman basketball and what they've done this season. But Want to get to a little high school football in this segment as high school football round one of the playoffs in the books on Friday night. I know a lot of you Tolos follow along very closely with your high school teams. Let me know if you have any questions regarding who stands where in the playoffs and what round two looks like. The Hub City Spartanburgers text line is open at 844-326-3663. Some scores locally, though, from Friday night. Boiling Springs defeats Malden 16-14. Rock Hill defeats Spring Valley 47-0. Locally, Spartanburg defeats J.L. Man 45-3. Gaffney defeats Eastside 28-10. Also, do want to say thoughts and prayers with Lucas Tankersley of Eastside, man. A tremendous talent. Running back, also plays on the defense for Eastside as well. Unfortunately, he went down with a pretty bad injury and had to be taken off in an ambulance on Friday night. So hopefully he's okay. And he was also a really good wrestler for Eastside over there at Eastside High School. So hate to hear that, but Gaffney gets a first-round playoff win, 28-10 over Eastside. Greenville, how about the Red Raiders? Scoot Watson, those guys get a 42-35 win over Nation Ford. Hillcrest defeats Riverside 35-14, a big night for the Rams. South Point got a win 63-13 over Beaufort. Fountain Inn, man, what a season they had. Brett Nichols and those guys did such a good job, but their season came to an end on Friday. Just fell short to Emerald 44-36 and another instant classic. That was a rematch from just a few weeks ago. So hate to see that for Fountain Inn, but Emerald's a very good football team. Seneca defeated Lancaster 28-21. Daniel defeated Dreer 14-10, a really close game there. Dreer lost to Daniel. The Greer Yellow Jackets lost to Camden on Friday night. Their season comes to an end. 38-20 was the final score there. Westside defeats Pickens 49-21. Wren defeated Blue Ridge Friday 42-28. Powdersville with a big 66-0 win over Carolina on Friday. Pendleton defeated Broome 24-21. Crescent defeated Union County 50-14. 14 rather. And by the way, some big news out of Union County today with Quentin Isom, the head football coach of the Union County Yellow Jackets, the former coach. Union County announced that they are parting ways with Quentin Isom. So Union County looking for a new football coach. Mountain View Prep over in Spartanburg got a 28-27 win over St. Joe's. That game was actually at St. Joe's. Woodruff defeated West Oak 49-7. Christchurch, shout out to Quinn Hatfield and those guys, 47-7 win over Wahala. Belton Honeypath got a big 56-7 win over Palmetto. Southside Christian took down Chapman in a game that was not close at all, 55-15, a big win for Southside Christian. Let's see, locally, I believe that's about it. Chesney did fall. Their season comes to an end. Fairfield Central defeats Chesney Friday 50-21. Some high school football scores from around the area. Also, Tolos, if you want to know where your team is playing in the second round matchups, the brackets are out. I'll have this Friday's matchups on the fanupstate.com here coming shortly. And you'll be able to see all of the matchups this Friday on the fanupstate.com. But Tolos, want to hear from you at 844-326-3663. 98 of you Tolos watching the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I want to get to this Brian Daboll news eventually, but we can go ahead and get to it. They're talking about it a lot on the big networks today, and I don't know if you NFL fans out there, you NFL Tolos out there, pay much attention to the New York Giants. I'm sure we have a few New York Giant fans in the audience, but Brian Daboll getting fired is interesting because, it felt like a few weeks ago that organization was turning a new page, right, with Jackson Dart becoming the starter, providing a little bit of a spark to that offense, and then Cam Scatterbo coming in. Obviously, the terrible injury that he suffered, his season ends. But I'll tell you what, man, I think Brian Daboll was in a situation where he knew he was going to get canned. He knew it wasn't going to end well, but he just felt like he had to do something to mix things up. Russell Wilson came out in 2025 as the starter for the New York Giants. That lasted, a few games, and then Jackson Dart comes in. I think Jackson Dart like you saw the connection and the relationship between Brian Daboll and Jackson Dart. I do think there was a lot of authenticity there between those guys, and I do truly believe Brian Daboll felt like Jackson Dart gave them the best opportunity to succeed. However, in the NFL, what we've learned is, and what we've known for a long time, is it takes more than just a quarterback. The New York Giants still have some tremendous issues as a whole with their organization. So ultimately, throwing Jackson Dart out there wasn't the ultimate fix. Throwing Cam Scatterbo out there wasn't the ultimate fix. Now, they were better with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo because you saw the connection those two were starting to build and starting to form. But ultimately, when Cam goes down, they don't have that bullish threat, if you will. And Jackson Dart's still good. But, man, them blowing that lead yesterday, I mean, that was really embarrassing. And they had a nice lead. And for them to blow it in the way they did, Brian Daboll, I said on these airwaves back before the season started that I believed Brian Daboll would be fired midseason. And here we are on the 10th day of November. Brian Daboll has been fired. And the New York Giants yesterday, after that loss to the Bears, 24-20. On the flip side, how about Caleb Williams? Do we all owe Caleb Williams an apology? I mean, Caleb Williams, 6-3 with the Chicago Bears this season. They're 3-1 at home. I don't know, but we might be to the point now where we do owe Caleb Williams an apology just because he's different. He's not the normal cut of a quarterback, right? When you hear him talk and you see how he, carries himself, you don't think, oh, standard NFL quarterback. But guess what? I think we all owe Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears an apology. Now, did getting Ben Johnson tremendously help that franchise and organization? Sure. Ben Johnson's been incredible. I think that was a home run hire, stealing him away from Detroit. But ultimately, I mean, this is a Bears team now that from the ashes is now 6-3. They're 3-1 at home. And with the parity this year in the NFL, it just seems like, man, this Chicago Bears team's not too bad, right? I mean, you look at other teams who are supposed to be all that. The Chicago Bears certainly seem to be in a good spot. Look at the Buffalo Bills yesterday. The Buffalo Bills came in, 6-2, playing a 2-7 horrible Dolphins team. A Dolphins team, by the way, that has a false start on the very first play of scrimmage, and you lose to that team. You went 3 scoreless quarters. That's pathetic. Now, the Bills did try to make it close in the fourth quarter. They scored 13, but the Dolphins scored 14. Dolphins beat the Bills yesterday 30-13. A very pathetic performance from the Miami Dolphins. So my point being, I think we do owe Caleb Williams a little bit of an apology. I also think the Bears with Ben Johnson have shown us that going back to that point with the Giants and Jackson Dart, I think this is a good reminder that you need more than just a good quarterback in the NFL. And look, Caleb Williams has been good. He's been really good, but he needed more than that. How many times on this show, how many times have we talked about when it comes to a quarterback in the NFL, the landing spot, the destination, the environment that they're in meaning so much? And how many quarterbacks' careers are wasted because they don't find themselves in the right spot? I still don't believe Trevor Lawrence is in the right spot. I still don't know if Trevor Lawrence has the right head coach in Liam Cohen. But what you do see is you see a guy in Caleb Williams who's with that franchise, with that organization for a couple of years, and a guy in Ben Johnson who's with the Detroit Lions who is competing for a Super Bowl says, not only can I have my first head job, he says, I see something with that guy. I see something with that guy in Caleb Williams. And I think this just goes to show you need a lot more than just a head coach. You need a lot more than just a quarterback. Obviously, everybody else, there are more pieces to the puzzle that go into this formula. But Ben Johnson leaving Detroit to bring Chicago from the ashes, a horrible Chicago team, by the way, who's now 6-3 with Caleb Williams. I just think it goes to show you give a guy like Jackson Dart the right head coach. You give a guy like Trevor Lawrence the right head coach, and who knows, maybe him and Liam Cohen still pan out. I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't see it. But you give a quarterback who does have the intangibles and does have the talent, the right head coach, and look what can happen. Look what can happen. Look at the Indianapolis Colts, man. Which, by the way, was a fantastic game on Sunday. The Falcons led for the majority of that football game, and the Colts came back to win 31-25. Kane on the YouTube stream says, Chicago is owed nothing but BTA and defeat. Go Lions. Kane, I know that's probably a little bit of a sour pill for you to swallow, being that your offensive coordinator left for Chicago. But, man, I'm telling you, that's still impressive. In his first season, and I'm not saying they're going to go win the win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that. But when you look at what they've done in such a short time, it just does make you think, man, how important is it for these young quarterbacks to be in the right spot? How important is it for these young quarterbacks to land in the very right spot with the very perfect coach? It's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to draft well. But, man, you see this situation, and it goes back to my point. I think we all owe Caleb Williams an apology because pretty much everybody was throwing dirt on that guy, right? And look what he's done now that he's in the right situation. He's got the right head coach in Ben Johnson, and who would have thought that would be possible in Chicago? And, Kane, I know you're joking about it, but my goodness, man, who would have thought in Chicago, of all places, you're talking about a 6-3 Bears team because Ben Johnson saw Caleb Williams and said, I like what I see in that guy. I think I can make something of that situation. And boy, did he. Boy, did he. All right, we've got to run to a break. We've got to talk Clemson. Grayson Mann, TigerNet.com, joins the show every Monday at 4:22. We'll talk to Grayson next. Time to talk a little Clemson football on this Monday, as we do every single Monday in this very time slot. Welcome into Wire to Wire. I'm Cole Bryson Diesel, a little under the weather today. He'll be back very soon, hopefully, as we're joined every Monday at this time by Grayson ManTigerNet.com. Grayson, how the heck are you, man?
How the heck are you, man? I'm doing fantastic.
I'm fantastic. It's a victory Monday for the Clemson Tigers as they got the get-right game, as I called it, against Florida State on Saturday. A big one in Death Valley. I think the biggest thing is you got that monkey off of your back, Grayson. You don't have to go into the offseason with this mantra of not winning a Power 4 game at home and over a calendar year. A lot to dive into, including that statistic, but what stuck out the most to you in Clemson's big win on Saturday?
Can you imagine if we had to wait till 2026, Cole, to project a home win just between you and me?
I know.
Doing this. That's a stat you don't want hanging over your head for an offseason.
And what would that win have been, by the way? I mean, who would the first Power 4 home win have been over, you know?
I don't know. Maybe Georgia Tech's first. I don't know what the schedule. We obviously won't know till the spring.
Yeah.
But you would have had to really grasp at straws depending on how the roster and this staff turn out to be. But yeah, this is an interesting game, Cole. I predicted Florida State to win on Saturday. I felt like they had a little bit more juice offensively. And in terms of their skill at wide receiver, Deuce Robinson, some speedy guys, I felt like that was going to be what we've seen for the last several weeks, is that Clemson's very susceptible to big plays on the perimeter. And it felt like Florida State could expose that. And to be honest, they did. It was just a lot of miscues on the Seminoles' part. We kept saying in the press box, Clemson's finally found a team that shoots itself in the foot more than the Tigers do. So you had a variety of mistakes there, but I continue to be really impressed. I wasn't really blown away in the second half, but I do feel like since that second half of SMU, Garrett Riley's had a decent pulse on offense, and the play calling has been much better. Cade Klubnik has been playing really good football. I wouldn't say great, I'd say good. Certainly much better than how he started the season. So you found a little bit of complimentary football. I do think that the dynamic of the game changes if you don't have a fumbled exchange at the red zone. You don't have a fourth down drop that was going to be a touchdown. Sure, you can have all those caveats, and certainly Clemson's been on the receiving end of some unfortunate luck. So sometimes it swings back your way, but ultimately you found a team that made more mistakes than you, and you capitalized on that with a 14-point win.
Grayson, kind of a big picture question when it comes to Clemson's win on Saturday against Florida State. And I was talking about this in the very first segment of the show. Do wins against Florida State and do wins the rest of the way out change what happens in the offseason?
No. It's my understanding that change is coming, and it will
not. What if
not.
they went out, Grayson? What if they went out?
Still coming. Still coming. They're not going to win out, by the way. I will not project
Whoa.
That's just
negative Nancy over here on this Monday.
I'm spoiling Victory Monday.
Why? Why aren't they going to win out?
I think they're going to face better teams, and they're also going to face a group in Louisville that's incredibly, I think, back to earth after that loss to Cal. Good quarterback, by the way. That's going to be a transfer portal addition for somebody in the offseason over there in Berkeley. But for Louisville, it's a team that matches up with Clemson very well. Jeff Brom, a coach that realizes they still have a shot in the ACC.
Sure.
And Friday night, it's a weird environment. Cade Klubnik isn't 100% healthy still, and I think that's been reflected. So he's gutted out some big performances. But overall, I didn't come away on Saturday thinking, man, Clemson was a world beater. They really showed me that they can win 4 straight. They're going to get the Furman one. I think that one would be a disaster if we had to come here on Monday and talk about a Furman win. But in terms of the product, I still think that Louisville's much more capable of exposing some of Clemson's bigger weaknesses that Florida State just wasn't able to do on Saturday. Missed throws by Castellanos, not a quarterback that, and to Clemson's credit, the strategy is to keep a quarterback like that in the pocket, make sure he's not going to do this backyard football stuff. He reminds me a lot of Kyler Murray in that sense, where if you keep him in the pocket and force him to throw over the middle of the field, you're going to win that football game 9 times out of 10. And so they were doing a lot of those corner blitzes with Terrell, Sometimes the secondary stayed home, sometimes they didn't. In the rewatch, I was a little bit less impressed, maybe just because you see a little bit more of the angles and go, wow, they got away with this one. I think I counted 4 drops in that first half alone. So a lot of miscues on Florida State's end. You got to give credit where credit is certainly due. But at the end of the day, they're going to face a better team on Friday than Clemson has with Florida State. And so that competition, how do they stack up? How do they handle this success late into the year? Does it galvanize them? We'll see.
Grayson, kind of another college football generality question when it comes to what you mentioned with Florida State, and we've seen it this year with Clemson as well when it comes to running the football, right? Like Florida State couldn't run the ball. Their quarterback was their leading rusher. We've seen at times what Clemson looks like, Grayson, when they can't run the ball. I don't know if there's a correlation or a study that needs to be done on team success in 2025 when it comes to their team success and also how well they run the football. We hear it from coaches week in and week out. From what you're seeing, you see Clemson in a different team every week. Why is it so hard in the modern era to run the football?
So centered around passing and protecting the quarterback and protecting the receiver. It's never been easier to put yards down the field when you're throwing it. Just the way that they're having to coach these guys on defense. I mean, half the tackles are banned. You've seen in the NFL, guys are getting suspended for those hip drops. And so overall, it's just a tougher world to run the football and be a team that wants to fundamentally attack on the ground. You got to have somebody special in the backfield as well. And I don't think Clemson has that, at least yet, with Gideon Davidson. I think he's still developing, showing some flashes for sure. Randall's not a special talent, good talent, not a special talent. But it is a lot more difficult, Cole, to run the football when you can. Man, are you dangerous. That's championship level football. Ohio State can do it. Alabama can do it. Indiana can do it when they're not playing Penn State.
Yeah.
They can do it. So the element of having that talent back there, but also the offensive line, there's synchronization that's required at that spot that I don't think many of these teams in the ACC necessarily have. You've seen it in spurts with Isaac Brown in Louisville. Be curious to see how they attack that after they made that a nightmare for Clemson last November.
Grace and I gave Clemson a lot of praise in the first segment on how they responded just as fans, as players. You know, I said last week, man, multiple times, when it comes to the defense especially, I wanted to see the defense play with an edge again. And it seemed as if sometimes that was way too inconsistent in 2025. From the players playing with an edge, emotion Saturday, Grayson, to the fan support, the atmosphere. Graham Neff was tweeting about it. I don't know if that's, anything, if you read far into that or what, or how you read Graham Neff's tweet there, what you make of it. But just talk about, I mean, you were there. Talk about what it says about Clemson that despite a bad season, compared to what Clemson normally has, that they were still able to get that kind of impressive turnout on Saturday night.
I looked around and said, where was this? In terms of the environment and the way they were able to set it up, very impressive from a logistical standpoint. They were lighting up the Paul and they were doing a bunch of things with the band. Very fun, very much reminiscent of that pageantry of classic college football from that standpoint. But I think it does say something about this Clemson fan base is that they're very passionate, they're very loud, and they'll let you know it when you're slipping up. But man, do they show up. I mean, that stadium was full, and you're looking at other programs across the country. They're worried about attendance, ticket sales. If things start going south, there's a lot of programs, their fans check out. And sure, there's some Clemson fans that have, but overall, you saw a lot of energy, students riled up, a lot of fun on Saturday, Cole. I really can't ask for much more for a group that's 3-5 and not playing for anything that you look towards and go, man, can't wait for them to be bowl eligible. I don't think Clemson fans are going to make a parade about a 6-6 season, but they're going to show up. And depending on the geography of a potential bowl route, wouldn't be shocked if it's a lot of orange in that crowd as well, depending on where they potentially could end up should they beat Louisville and South Carolina.
Grayson, what can you say about Cade Klubnik's health? Obviously pretty banged up and continue to get banged up and bruised and battered on Saturday.
Yeah, so he had suffered a quad injury against Duke and continued to play through that, could barely walk, as Dabo Swinney put it in Saturday's press conference. What makes it interesting about the ACC availability report is I wonder when he's practicing, when he's not practicing, and there's some truth telling in the availability. I'm not saying anything controversial, I don't think, but I just find it funny. The system is very interesting, and I'm not yes, I'm not pinning Clemson on anything. I'm just saying there's been some other examples too. You're like, interesting how they frame that. So overall, I think he's healthy. He's going to play. There's not going to be much that keeps him off the field, but man, was he limping post game.
But Grayson, not to interrupt you, but we also heard a couple of weeks ago that he was going to play, and that didn't happen. I mean, are we concrete this time?
We're concrete.
Okay. You're confident. I like it.
Keeping me on.
You gotta have him against Louisville. I mean, you don't win that game Friday night without Cade Klubnik. I don't think. As good as Christopher Vecina was. We're talking to Grayson Mann, TigerNet.com. If you Clemson fans have a question for Grayson, you can get it in on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line 844-326-3663. In your mind, Grayson, what was it about that Tom Allen defense? I made a joke on Twitter that maybe Brent Venables had a headset that we didn't know about. I mean, it looked like a different defense. What in your mind was it that elevated that defense on Saturday night to a level that we haven't seen much this year?
Well, they had a total season high in sacks, 6. And part of that was Avion Terrell with the 2. They finally figured that corner blitz out where they tried to do it against Duke and safeties weren't exactly staying home. And they might have found something with Brandon Strohs or Corey Gibson, He played very well on Saturday against Florida State. That's just a small ad, but it's a group that plays with a lot of passion. And you can clearly tell, and even pictures that we've shot on TigerNet by Merrill Mann, does a great job. The energy, the smiles, it felt like Allen was the central voice on Saturday. And I think that this defense has kind of rallied around him. The speed looks a little bit better. The pass rush has gotten a little bit better. And I do believe that the linebacker play as well, we don't talk about it as much, but I feel like in the first part of the season, you could say that that position was a liability for this group. And I think they've gotten a lot better as the season's progressed. A lot of tackles made in space. So I don't think that there are certain fans that maybe be calling for Allen to be moved. I think that once Allen kind of figures this out, brings some extra guys in here, I do think that there's something to this, Cole. I do think that was one of Allen's better games. I have mentioned the whiffs in the secondary. I do think that's personnel. And certainly that will be addressed off-season wise. But I do think there's something here talent-wise that Allen can work with.
So how much in your mind of this year with Tom Allen and that Clemson defense, how much of it is personnel like he talked about a couple of weeks ago? On the flip side, how much of it is him adjusting, I'm not saying being a defensive coordinator because he's obviously been in this position as well. But if you had to look at the weight of coming into a new program where you don't have your players and you're kind of having to, I don't want to say makeshift, but in a way makeshift, right? How much of it do you think was on Tom Allen 2025? How much of it do you think is the personnel or the lack of personnel that fit what he wants to do?
Well, it was a really revealing press conference from him a few weeks ago when he essentially implied we can't call certain things because of the trust that we have in the personnel. I thought that was very honest and very revealing as to how he kind of evaluates this defense. And when he was asked, what do you want out of a recruit or a prospect moving forward? I think prospect means 2 things now, whether you're talking about the transfer portal or recruits in the high school cycle. He said, I want fast, hungry players who love the game. That first line says a lot to me without him having to really spell it out for folks. So there is an aspect that I do think at times he's been a little over-aggressive, maybe overestimating his personnel skill and ability to kind of understand the situation, because he has been aggressive at times and it's paid off. He's been aggressive at times and it hasn't. So there have been moments where like, I don't really see the emphasis on the call here. Why are you making this decision? But at the same time, Tom Allen didn't forget how to coach on his flight from Happy Valley. This is a darn good football coach. And I think that in 2026, when things start to settle in a little bit more, and we'll have a lot more information as to the structure of the defensive staff and some of the players, whether that's moves in the portal or some of the kids that they're being able to bring in on the recruiting trail, I think we're going to see a lot of a different look, and then you'll go, okay, there's the vision that Allen wants to implement.
Grayson, kind of a follow-up to that. Maybe this is a off-season question, but I am curious. When you talk about a guy in Tom Allen who did say that, talking about the personnel that he has or personnel that he wants, right? And you mentioned the press conference from a few weeks ago. In your mind, how much influence do these assistant coaches, whether it be Tom Allen and Garrett Riley for now and maybe a new offensive coordinator in 2026, how much influence do coordinators have on Dabo Swinney's ability, or not ability, but willingness to go out and get more guys in the transfer portal opposed to getting Tristan Smith and Will Helt?
Well, I think he had a need last year, and it's going to come down to Clemson's going to lose T.J. Parker to the draft. At least that's the assumption.
Sure.
I would say a lot of this is very hypothetical because, Cole, as you know, college football, there's a lot of changing hands. So you'd project that T.J. Parker and DeMonte Capehart and Peter Woods will all head for the pros. That's 3 starters. Wade Woodaz, another starter, is going to be heading out. You have Avion Terrell, first-round draft pick in my mind for sure, is heading out. That's 5 starters. Do you think that you have 5 starters that can come in and immediately replace that production? My answer right now would be no. I think Jaheim Lawson is one that you can fill in at edge, but you're going to need some depth in if Lawson's going to take a bigger role. So I do believe that Allen could go to Swinney. And I think offensively it was different because you had Wesco, Williams, Moore, Klubnik. You felt decent at running back, and you felt really good about the tight end room. And then you had 4 or 5 starters on the offensive line coming back with a variety of freshmen, linemen ready to contribute from the 25 class. So offensively, there was a reason why they didn't go in the portal as much and getting that depth piece in Tristan Smith, who was meant to be a depth piece. I think that's very important for people to remember. Playing well as a starter, by the way. Very like what you see from him. See if they can get an extra year out of that. That would be interesting to see how that battle goes in the offseason. But defensively, you're lacking that talent, Cole. And I know I'm rambling here, but
no, you're good.
You have, as I mentioned, those 5 starters that are probably heading off. Will Helt could potentially go pro. Will Helt could also potentially transfer. We don't know. This isn't based off of any information that I have. This is just speculation in terms of what Allen would have to do for Swinney to go and say, we need to at least get a couple guys in here to be starters.
Sure.
Do you feel good about the linebackers? Who pairs with Sammy Brown? Do you bring in those defenders? You only have a couple on the defensive line, and a few of them have decommitted in Keyshawn Stansel, who I felt like could play immediately. So Clemson's search for talent is going to be that evaluation of how well have these guys developed behind the scenes, because now that's the time. 26 was always going to be that year where it's an influx of talent. Who comes in, who comes out? I think we're going to find out, Cole, pretty soon. And
then last follow-up to the 2 follow-ups I've already followed up. Because you keep, every time you answer, you spark a new question.
I love that. Let's go.
I think, Grayson, I agree with you, by the way, but I think the biggest concern in my mind when I hear that is, okay, that sounds great, but in the past few years, we've clearly seen a miss when it comes to evaluation of talent. At the very top, is there going to be a change? Is anything going to change when it comes to guys being recruited coming into the program versus guys coming into the program via the portal? I'm with you. That's all fine and dandy. But the reality is I don't know that Clemson fans are extremely happy on the last few years just when it comes to talent evaluation and development.
I think that's where Kevin Kelly comes in. And I think it's important to remember he was hired in February. So the portal window's already been closed. You had already had this recruiting cycle. He's had his hand on the 26 class. So I think this offseason in terms of the transfer portal, very important. I think that Kevin Kelly's going to have a huge role in deciding talent and evaluating talent. Coming in from the Chargers, working very closely. He was someone who drafted not drafted, but had a big part in drafting Justin Herbert, quarterback out of Oregon. Had to make that decision between Tua Tagovailoa with the Dolphins and Justin Herbert. That's just one example of many, but that's one big name that I think fans who watch football on Sundays go, yeah, Justin Herbert's pretty good at what he does So I think that name certainly is going to be brought up in the offseason in a big way. So let's get ahead of it now with the follow-up question.
Grayson, the follow-up is, how is life for a New England Patriots fan right now?
I was talking to my parents earlier about this. They said for the last several years, I've driven in my car on Mondays and I've heard about nothing but negativity. And this morning I'm driving around to campus and I hear the Patriots are Super Bowl contenders. And I had to pull over. I was emotional. It's like, hold on. I haven't heard that since 2018.
Yeah.
What a time.
Are they?
I think that they are. What more do they need to prove? They're undefeated on the road. They have one of the best young quarterbacks in football. They have one of the best coaches in football. And I think that there's still a level they haven't tapped into yet. I don't think they've played their best game yet, Cole. And going down the road to Tampa, beating an NFC contender, you gone on the road to Buffalo. Sure, the easy schedule argument is out there, but when they've played stiffer competition, they've passed the test.
And you mentioned Buffalo there. I mean, a little bit unshaky. Unshaky ground maybe in that division. I mean, Buffalo, they go as Josh Allen goes, but Grayson, when Josh Allen doesn't play well, they're not a good football team. And yesterday, they just weren't a good football team.
They're very Josh Allen dependent. And
right.
You like to be when he's one of the best quarterbacks in football. So when he's on, which is 90% of the time, you're winning football games.
Yeah.
But for the AFC East, it's been Buffalo for the last 6 years. And I think hands are changing back to how they should be up there. New England Patriots, man. 8-2, life is good. I can't wait in February to do this, and they're going to be in the Super Bowl, and it's going to be awesome.
Must be nice. I'll say that. Must be nice to have your NFL team relevant. Must be nice. Grayson, man, TigerNet.com. You're the best, man. Appreciate you as always.
I appreciate you, Cole.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you next week. Grayson, man, TigerNet.com. If you missed any of that, you can go back on the free Odyssey app and find it. Also, also on the fanupstate.com. I want to say thank you to a select group of people next. So this is a very short segment before Overreaction Monday coming up in about 10 minutes right here on The Fan. Upstate want to hear your overreactions from the sports weekend at 844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. But I also, in the next segment, want to say thank you to a very special group of people who look, I admire. And we, Diesel and I, are off tomorrow. By the way, Diesel is under the weather today. Hopefully he'll be back very soon. Just not feeling the best. But tomorrow's Veterans Day, and we will not be on the air. Veterans Day is a company holiday at Odyssey. And for any veterans listening, I would love to hear from you in the next segment. I know we're doing Overreaction Monday, but I'm going to kind of combine it with this veterans special that I just want to say thank you to the veterans out there. It means a lot to me for all of those that have served this great country. So on the text line, I would love to hear from you and shout you out if you are a Tolo who has served and is a veteran. Again, just want to shout you out and say thank you. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. It doesn't matter if there's one Tolo or 100 Tolos that get in the text line in the very next segment or during this commercial break. But want to say thanks for your service to this country, because Veterans Day is a very, very important holiday. Again, we won't be on the air tomorrow. It's a company holiday. But just want to say thanks to all the veterans out there. We'll continue the conversation over Reaction Monday next. It's Overreaction Monday. That's what we do at 5 o'clock on Mondays. We overreact to what we saw over the weekend when it comes to sports. But first, I want to go to the Hub City Spartanburgers text line and give a shout out as I asked for the veterans, the Tolo veterans, to let me know if you served because tomorrow is Veterans Day. We're off tomorrow. It's a company holiday. And I do want to give a shout out to John, who served in the U.S. Army. Also, Trey in Kentucky, U.S. Navy. Trey says, thanks to those who served and Godspeed to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Trey, I echo what you said as well. And for any Tolos out there, anybody listening that may have friends or family that has served, again, tomorrow we will honor those veterans. But it should be done every single day. Veterans Day is a special holiday. And if you are out there, we'd love to shout you out if you did serve this great country and appreciate your service. Anytime you see somebody wearing a hat with a branch of military that they were in, man, I always try it. I don't always get to, but I always do try to at least say thanks for their service to this country. And John, Trey in Kentucky, you are just the first two have texted in. And I know there's probably a lot more than that out there, but I want to say thanks to you. And, we have division in the country, obviously, on both sides of the political sphere. But I think we can all agree that those who have served this country, we're appreciative of you for doing so. Tolos, continue to get your overreactions in. 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. We're going to the phone lines in just a second. Sam from Spartanburg gets in on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, U.S. Marine Corps and U.S. Army. Well, Sam, salute to you. Thank you for your service. And, like I said, a lot of you Tolos out there listen every day and serve this great country, and you're not wearing the hat. We don't walk by you, at the Ingles Market, the local grocery store, whatever it is, so we don't get the opportunity to say thanks. But to John, Trey, Sam, those three that have texted in so far, really appreciate your service. And, appreciate you listening to the show as well. Let's get to Dewey at 844-FAN-PHONE. What's up, Dewey?
Yes. First of all, Clemson's back. And that really disappoints me.
Clemson's back.
According to Dabo, I don't really believe that, but they play Florida State. Florida State sucks. Mike Norvell sucks. The only travesty to that game is that Clemson didn't floor boat them, but they played about as a complete game as they could possibly play. They could have gotten more touchdowns instead of the field goals, but it is what it is. It's a win. Good job, Dabo. But next time, but I don't think you're going to. You might beat Louisville. Who knows? But next week's about the Carolina Gamecocks getting it back together against Texas A&M, who I think is overrated, and that's probably going to be my upset picks, even though that's going to be another one swinging for the fences since I failed against the Syracuse.
Ooh.
Good job, Bad Craft.
Ooh, that would be a big – do you know what the spread is currently on that game, Dewey?
I don't know, but I assume it's going to be double digits.
You're talking about South Carolina A&M, right?
Yeah.
18.5 points. You're telling me South Carolina, that is an overreaction. South Carolina is going to go to College Station and get a win.
Yes. Texas A&M,
what's your name?
They're not. This is going to be the game that puts them in their places.
Oh, wow.
South Carolina beat them last year, but at the same time, this is the first game without that offensive coordinator guy, and I expect improvements. And Texas A&M it's their time to lose, and this is the game South Carolina has to win if they want to get bowl eligible. If not, their season's over with, even though their season's over with anyway.
Okay.
And as far as Diesel's concerned, he should have came to work sick.
No, you don't want to come to work sick. He's under the weather. Hey, let me tell you this. I'll back Diesel. I'm going to stand up for him because he wasn't feeling well Friday, Dewey. He wasn't feeling well Friday, but he came to work Friday and he pushed through. So I'm going to stand up for him on that one.
Well, Diesel's a trooper, but he could do the show from his bedroom.
Say it again.
and with a snot rag in his throw-up bucket.
I don't know that you want to hear that.
Well, he can mute it.
Any other overreactions, Dewey?
Oh, no.
Thanks, man.
So. I think I'm done.
Appreciate the phone call. Texter from the 347 says that dude needs to settle down. A&M's going to win the SEC. Yeah, I think I'll agree with you on that, Texter. Let's see. Michael T. from Gaffney gets in and says U.S. Navy. Well, Michael, number one, appreciate you listening to the show. And number two, most importantly, thank you for your service to the United States. And again, Tolos, if you just tuned in and you got greeted with Dewey, I apologize. But programming note, tomorrow we are off. It's a company holiday. Odyssey observes Veterans Day, and any Tolos out there who did serve, I'd love to shout you out. Just say thanks again. John, Trey in Kentucky, Sam, Michael T. That's Sam from Spartanburg, Michael T. from Gaffney. Just a big, big thank you to all of those who have served. Let's go to Somerville, where Tom in Somerville wants to weigh in and overreact on this Monday. What's up, Tom?
Lamont Paris and the Gamecocks basketball team is going to the big dance.
Oh, my gosh.
They were down by 11 points yesterday with, 4 minutes left to go in the game?
Yeah, but they led before that by, 11 points, Tom?
Hey, basketball game is a game of run. You're going to have your up, you're going to have your down. But at the end of the day, whoever has the most points wins the game.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Last year, we weren't used to scoring many points. Football team ain't used to scoring many points. So we got a basketball team that's scoring close to 90 points. I'll take it. I don't care who it's against. I will take it. We got some shooters on this team. Meechie Johnson deserves a statue outside right next to Don Staley. This team, Cole, this team is going to be fun to watch. I'm worried about them defensively a little bit, but it's early in the season. You can't be any better than 2-0, and they're 2-0.
They're 2-0, and they've beaten North Carolina A&T and Southern Miss, Tom.
Hey, remember last year? They lost the season opener to North Florida.
They did.
And from that point on, the year was over. And we have not reached that point yet. I think this team has a very, very soft non-conference schedule. They're going to win some games. They're going to get their confidence right. They'll take care of that team in the upstate because that team sucks. And the Gamecocks are going to go into conference play with, 10 or 11 wins. They'll lose 1 or 2 in the non-conference because that's normal.
Yeah.
But they'll go into conference play full head of steam. And, that Eli Ellis kid, Cole,
he's good.
Can shoot.
He's good, man.
He's real, real good. And he's going to be that guy that other teams just hate. They hate to see him on the court because he's a little cocky. He's good, and, he's a Gamecock.
Do you follow him on TikTok, Tom?
Oh, I've seen his TikTok.
Okay.
So,
by the way, real quick, Jacob gets in on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line and says, I'm not convinced Tom and Dewey are two different people. Can you respond to that?
I am not Dewey. Dewey goes on these crazy tangents about throw-up buckets and snot rags. That's for Dewey. I was looking forward to hearing Diesel today. I hope he gets
sick.
Better.
Yeah, he's sick.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully he's back on Wednesday, and we can get his take on the Gamecocks basketball team because as far as I'm concerned, the football season is done with. Texas A&M is going to take us behind the woodshed. We're going to beat Coastal in a couple weeks, and who knows? We might beat Clemson, but I doubt it. But as far as I'm concerned, it's basketball season till Valentine's Day weekend when Paul and the boys take the dive.
And Tom, I would agree with you. I think this team has better depth than the last year's team.
Oh, you could tell it even in the scrimmage against NC State. You could tell this team is just built differently. Sure. They're deeper. And it's going to be fun to watch this year.
Tom, you're the man. Appreciate you as always.
Go Gamecocks!
844-FAN phone accusing Tom and Dewey of being the same person. I wonder if they'll accuse Madcraft. Who's up next? Madcraft, it's Overreaction Monday. What do you have to overreact about on this Monday?
Hey, listen, so to everybody listening, if you've seen the movie, it's called My Cousin Vinny, right? And it involves a scene where Joe Pesci goes down and he's eating breakfast, and he has an otherworldly question when he is confronted with something that he doesn't know. When he asks, "What is a grit? What is a grit?"
Grits, yeah.
And how do you cook it?
Yeah.
All right. Now, at first, I thought, now that I've gone wrong, and anybody that's seen this movie, you guys will understand, I had the wrong character. Dewey is better represented by the other lawyer that they try to go with at first. Now, anybody that's seen the movie will get that joke. I'm going to leave it there. But he told me last week on the phone that he was going to come in here and make fun of me and listen to my phone call for all my excuses on why Miami lost.
Oof.
And then he called in first. And gave us what? What did he give us, Cole? A whole bunch of excuses.
Of nothing.
A whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, you're right. I'm with you on that.
So Dewey can kick rocks, right?
And by the way, he's commenting on the stream, so I'm 99% sure he's still watching the show.
Well, good, Dewey. You heard me. You called me out. I'm calling you out.
You think there's any way Miami still? I mean, the ACC is a hot mess right now. I mean, there's no way.
No.
The two losses.
Look, I'll be honest. It would, believe it or not, we do have a shot to make the ACC championship.
I know, and I'm looking. It's a shot. It's a long shot.
It's a shot, but it would take basically all of those top four teams need to lose.
It'd take what? Georgia Tech losing. Yeah.
Georgia Tech would need to lose one more, but I've looked through it. That basically, I think that SMU is guaranteed. I think SMU goes to the championship. I think the other ones at the top right there that only have one loss right now, they kind of all play each other down the stretch. So,
in conference, by the way, one-loss teams in the ACC: Georgia Tech, Virginia, Pitt, SMU, and Duke, all a one-loss team.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
In conference play, by the way, that's not.
I'm sorry. Yeah, correct. Thank you. A one-loss team in conference play. That's correct.
Yeah, but outside of that, I think that's the only way. I just don't see us being an at-large discussion.
Yeah.
I do still think that we still hold a strong resume, especially if they keep, ranking Notre Dame where they are. If they keep ranking Notre Dame higher and higher, I don't see how that doesn't continuously help us.
Hey, you know what's even crazier? You look at a team like Duke. Duke has 4 losses, but Duke can still win the ACC. Or still play. I guess they just lost to the right people, maybe. That's a 4-loss team overall. That's only a 1-loss team. And to your point, we'll see. I hate it for Miami, though. I think that 1 loss, they could still be in the hunt if it weren't for last weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the second. But hey, I'll finish on this note real quick. I do, want to bring it up. I'm not claiming this yet, but I do want to bring it up. Maybe at the end of the season we can get a better representation of it. But like you said, Duke being a 4-loss team, but they could still win the ACC. I really do believe that's a testament that the ACC is being very undervalued as far as depth is concerned this year. We went into the beginning of the season thinking, okay, there's 3 really good teams and then a whole bunch of nothing.
It's a good point.
It's essentially kind of think about it. But hey, I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, Matt, as always. Last one before we run to a break. Let's go to the phone lines. Dan B wants to get in the last call in Overreaction Monday. What's up, Dan B?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up what happened in Major League Baseball with the Ortiz and Clace getting indicted and all that.
Yeah, I brought that up in the
Well,
Daily Wires, Dan, but to be honest with you, I haven't dove in depth on it.
Yeah, and I haven't. I'm not getting in depth in that case in and of itself. My overall thing is that the moment we even started talking about players being able to bet, and you started bringing in DraftKings and all these other things into teams, into the national spotlight and commercials, and they're part of the sponsors on the games at all levels. Like you could just feel it. This was going to happen.
Yeah.
And the integrity of the sport. I mean, you want to watch fans walk away from anything, you take away the integrity, and everyone disappears.
You know what? I think that's a great call, Dan. I completely agree with you. It's a slippery slope. We've talked about it, but I think you hit the nail on the head there. The integrity of the game. I said this earlier in the show, and you tell me if I'm wrong on this or if you felt the same way. Has it felt like since all of that entered the game, it's diluted the game? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know that college football has felt the same to me this year. I don't know. It just feels different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely, I can't put my finger on it, but it definitely feels like things we're going to go downhill. And this, I think, is prime evidence that having this betting world be directly tied to the actual teams and things like that just asks for so many problems. And, you take this all the way back to Shoeless Joe and all that. I mean, this is no different. And, and we're all well aware of some of the ties to sports betting in our crime world, and this is a big part of it. And, I hated hearing a few weeks ago, they're like, oh, they're going to let NCAA players bet. Right. I'm like, no, you should never, no players should be betting on anything because they're all friends and they all talk. Like that just asks for problems. And again, the integrity of the game. And so,
Dan, I couldn't agree more. I got to run. I got to get to my Prize Picks endorsement. Okay. I'm kidding. Not really, but that's kind of like where we are. We agree, but we're still, I'm still talking about it, right? The money talks. When we come back, we're going to talk to a local head football coach at the collegiate level whose team is playing for a conference championship Saturday. Nate Garner joins the show next. Well, Tolos, it's time to talk a little local football because I don't know if you realized it or not. We have a local team right here in the upstate that is playing for a conference championship game this weekend. We bring in Nate Garner, the head football coach of the North Greenville Trailblazers. Coach, how the heck are you, man?
Man, I'm doing absolutely amazing. Can be better.
I'm telling you, it's a big week for you guys. North Greenville finished the regular season 6-4 on a 2-game win streak, a perfect 6-0 in conference play. This is your first year as head coach. Obviously, spent some time in the NFL, spent some time locally at Limestone. We've had you on before, but could you have envisioned the perfect 6-0 conference slate and playing for the conference championship when you took the job only in your first campaign?
I mean, that was the vision all along, man. We've been wanting to get ready to win some games here and had a mindset to come in and just try to win the conference. And, hey, it just went week by week and tried to figure out who we were early on in the season. We finally got that under wraps, and now we're getting ready to roll.
Who do you think you were compared to now? I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, a team evolves and gets better or sometimes worse, unfortunately, throughout the course of a year. How would you identify the areas that this team in your mind did improve on throughout the course of the season?
Honestly, it's just been the team chemistry. Like we had a lot of new guys, new additions in the fall, and they've grown together. They come together as a team and just are really playing for each other right now. It's pretty awesome to see.
We're joined by Nate Garner, the head football coach at North Greenville. For those listening, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, 97.7 FM in Greenville, the 174 Tolos watching on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Coach Garner joining us on the stream. You, Coach, playing UNC Pembroke on Saturday, 1 o'clock in Tigerville, conference championship game. This is a UNC Pembroke team that you just played about a month ago. You won 20-7. It's an in-conference opponent, so you know a lot about them. I ask this question to a lot of coaches at all levels, but how does your game plan and preparation change knowing that you did see this team? Can you use things from that past game, or do you look at this game as a completely new game where you really don't look back and use much from what happened in that first contest?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. Like you gotta adjust and evolve and see how they've adjusted and evolved over the last 4 weeks. And same with us. Like we've changed our game plan over the last 4 weeks based on our opponents. So we're gonna see what they've grown into and what we've kind of grown into and take some of the good from all of it.
Coach, for somebody out there listening that has not seen North Greenville play this year, you talked about how the team's gotten better throughout the course of the year. What would you say that this team's identity is? If somebody comes Saturday in Tigerville to watch your team play in the conference championship game, what kind of team should they expect to see? What is the mark of a Nate Garner-led team this late in the season?
And this is going to be a tough team. They're going to be out there going to grind every single play. They're going to smack you in the mouth and help you up and try to do it again the next play. That's kind of our mindset as a team. We want to go out there, work our butts off every single play, have a next play mentality, good or bad, whatever happened to play before, and just go out there and play ball one play at a time.
And then, Coach, talk about the quarterback position. You look at 3 guys who have really impressed for you this year. Dylan Ramirez, the mainstay quarterback, 187 for 282 this season, 20 touchdowns, averaging 248 yards per game. Dylan Ramirez, a local guy here in Spartanburg County out of Broome High School. You, as a coach, come into a situation where you don't get to bring your guys year one. I know you can handpick, a few of them from the portal, but what's it been like coaching a guy in Dylan Ramirez who was already at North Greenville for a few seasons and now trying to put your mark on what Dylan does at the quarterback position?
Man, it's been awesome, honestly. He's a great kid. He just comes to work every single day. He's a hard-nosed kid. He's gonna run the ball hard. He's gonna play smart. He's gonna take care of the football. And I absolutely love the way he comes to work every single day. Leads these guys. He's developed a ton this year in the leadership side of it. I'm very proud of what he's done.
And only 5 interceptions, too, this season. He's taking care of the football. I mean, when you saw him play the first time, walk us through that. Like, you get on campus. We had you on the show, right after you got hired at North Greenville. You spent time at Limestone under some good coaches as well, so you've seen quarterback development. But walk us through the timeline of seeing Dylan Ramirez for the very first time compared to kind of what a few things were that you wanted to help Dylan get better at and where he is at now with that game.
I mean, honestly, he's got all the tools in the world. He just had to get the right mindset to apply them. And that's all I've kind of done is kind of instill confidence in him and develop that chemistry and relationship with him. He's going out there every week, just working his tail off. Day in and day out in practice, he's a leader on the field, and the guys absolutely love him. They play for him, play their butts off for him.
At the skill position coach this season, 2025, who are a few of the Trailblazers who have really made this team? You talk about a 6-0 mark in conference play at running back, receiver, some of the skill position guys. Talk us through some of those guys that have really helped North Greenville have such a good season.
I mean, you got E.J. Rashid outside, number one. He's an awesome ball player. You got, my goodness, I just lost his freaking name. I've been hitting the head too many times, man.
No, you're good.
Reggie Bennett, man. I'm sorry. Reggie Bennett, my running back. He's absolutely amazing in the backfield. Has been running the ball hard, man. And then you got DT, the guy backing him up, coming in. They're running the ball hard. I got Amari Coates, man. Amari Coates is just an awesome player, dude. He goes out there to work every single day, grinds. He catches the ball, he's gonna make something happen. So it's awesome. We're across the board. Some great guys. You got Sam Washam. You got Landon Goodwin out there, Cam Walker. We got a bunch of skill guys out there that are working their tails off. So I love the way those guys are playing. They're coming to work every day. And like I said, they just go out, they make plays when they get them.
North Greenville hosting the conference championship game Saturday here in Greenville County in Tigerville, 1 o'clock. It's North Greenville hosting UNC Pembroke. Walk us through, Coach, what it looks like playing a team. You mentioned a good team in UNC Pembroke, but when you have to play them again, as a coach, does that worry you a little bit, just of the familiar aspect of them knowing what you do, but you also know what they do? I mean, is that something that you feel like one team has an advantage either way?
I mean, it's really hard to beat someone twice. Let's just call a spade there. Hey, it's hard to beat someone twice, so we got to have a great game plan right now and get ready to rock and roll. And the biggest thing is focusing on what we do best and putting our guys in positions to make plays.
When it comes to what you said just now, I agree with you, by the way. It is hard to beat a team twice. What are some of the things that I'm not saying hold back or sandbag or anything, but like late in the year, you are who you are as a football team, right? You're not adding a whole lot. You're kind of fine-tuning what you do. But is there an aspect of it of maybe having a few things schematically or some play calls that you didn't show them the first time with the expectation that you could see them again?
Well, I mean, that's week in and week out. We try to add something new every week. So offensively, we're always going to do that. Same thing defensively. They're always going to have some kind of wrinkle or change up. So we're going to get ready to go no matter what it is. That's the thing, is we'll have something different going into every single game plan we have. So,
Coach, what do you think?
Change, but that's what we got to do.
Yeah, when you talk about this conference, Coach, 6-0 in the Conference Carolinas, what do you think you've learned about this conference that maybe you didn't know when you took the job at North Greenville?
It's a good conference. There's a lot of good teams in here, and I think it's just it's going to be an awesome experience for these guys to grow up in this conference. This is the first year we've been playing in 51 years, so it's been an awesome experience being a coach in that as a first-time head coach. They've done a great job of just building that chemistry amongst the coaches, honestly, too. So that's been really cool, and just elevating us, helping to elevate the programs, and I think that's it's going to be great for all the teams involved in it going forward.
Coach, talk about some of your assistants. I know you were able to bring a few over from Limestone when Limestone shut down, but you had a staff in place when you got there. I'm sure this was maybe an adjustment for you as well, and a tough, not tough, but a weird first season with you getting there, already having guys in place, also wanting to bring your own guys in maybe, and then, the college that you just came from closes down, and there's some really talented coaches over there. Talk us through all of that and some of the names that you have with you now on your staff.
Man, I got some awesome guys on staff. Like I'll start off with my defensive coordinator, J.R. Clark. He was at Limestone the last 2 years. Got to be real familiar with him. Got to go battle against him day in and day out as the O-line coach over there. So it was awesome to have the opportunity to bring him on. He's done an amazing job getting this defense ready to roll. And then I got Dustin Noller, who played at Limestone, and I had some great familiarity. Like he played the last 3 years there. I was the O-line coach. He sat in on all of our game plan meetings. He was basically an offensive coordinator on the field already. So it was an easy transition to bring him on. I got Jericho Cotry, who came over. He was the head coach over there. 12-year NFL vet. He's been an asset to me that I couldn't have asked for anyone better than that to be by my side. I've known him since 2008. He's one of my best friends on the staff, man. He's a great dude. He's couldn't ask for anyone better than him, man. And then I got Julius Pruitt and Julian Posey, two guys I played with at the Dolphins. they're on staff. They're doing a great job for me. And then obviously another couple of Limestone guys, D-line coach and O-line coach, both were at Limestone with me. The O-line coach was my assistant last year, and then the D-line coach had been there the last 2 years with JR. So those are some great guys I got a chance to bring on, and they have a ton of knowledge and ton of experience, and I couldn't do this without them. I'm going to be honest. It's been an amazing help having those guys by my side.
Well, Coach, you mentioned Jericho Cotchery. We've had him on the show multiple times when he was the head coach at Limestone. How hard is it going to be to keep that guy around?
Oh, it's going to be really hard, man. He's a great coach. He's got a bright future, man.
Yeah.
And I know something's probably gonna pop off the end of this year for him. So I'm excited for him. I'm gonna help him any way I can, man, because he's been there by my side the whole time. So whatever he needs from me, I'm gonna help him out.
That's right. We're talking to Nate Garner, the head football coach at North Greenville. Coach, with you guys Saturday at 1 o'clock hosting the conference championship game in Tigerville. For a lot of people out there listening in Spartanburg or Greenville County, you've got your local D1 colleges that everyone's familiar with. But talk about what you and your staff are trying to build and add to the mainstay of local colleges at North Greenville so that when somebody does have an opportunity this Saturday to come out and see a North Greenville football game, maybe for the first time, what would your pitch to them be?
Man, it's just, we're gonna come out and watch a great football game. We're trying to just set the tone for the rest of our time here as a staff, man. We're trying to create a legacy for this team, these seniors, this first year in the Conference of Carolinas. It's gonna be an awesome thing for these guys going forward. And they went undefeated already in conference, so they've already set that standard going forward. We got to just maintain that standard, and hopefully everything works out this weekend.
Well, Coach, I'll be there. Hope to see you guys bring home a win, another win against UNC Pembroke. And as always, appreciate your time, and best of luck to you Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's Nate Garner, the head football coach at North Greenville, as his team is playing again this Saturday for a conference championship in Tigerville. Some local talent, really. I mean, look across the state, not just North Greenville, but also Newberry College football just won the South Atlantic Conference and earned an auto bid to the playoffs. So a big shout out to those guys. Their opponent won't be announced until Sunday, but they will certainly probably at least host one game in the playoffs, talking about Newberry. So a lot of talent, man. And I know you Tolos are excited about your in-state teams maybe winning, and they haven't had the most winnings, or maybe hadn't had the best season. But Nate Garner in North Greenville, he's done a tremendous job. His staff has, because you look at, following in the footsteps of Jeff Farrington and Nate Garner coming in and his experience in the National Football League, what he's able to do. It should be a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I went there. For those of you that don't know, that's where my alma mater in North Greenville. So I'll be there Saturday to see them hopefully win a conference championship in his first season. But I want to say thanks to him and best of luck to the Trailblazers on Saturday. When we come back, Dan Scott is on location. Furman basketball is just about an hour from tipping off, and we have a short show today, only 3 hours compared to a normal 4-hour show. And we will be joined by Dan Scott in the final segment to give you a little taste of what Furman basketball looks like this season. May even have a second or two to touch on Furman football and the tough loss on Saturday. Dan Scott set up. He's ready to bring you the call that you'll hear on the Fan Upstate, and he'll join us next.